All right, here's the part about the calculations on experiment 2. So first, you're going to calculate the density of all the liquids, so taking mass over the volume of it, and then it's going to ask you to compare DI water with the literature value. So you have the temperature of your water. So if it's like 22.5, then you can average these numbers together and approximate it to get a more accurate number for it. It's going to ask you to calculate percent error, similar to what you did in the first lab. So you're going to take your experimental value minus that true value that you calculate here and divide by the true value. And then we ask you to offer explanation for this error. So here, this is where you're going to kind of look at your kind of observation. So human error is no answer, right? It doesn't tell you anything. So kind of think about which you have mass and volume, which one do you have more confidence in? And so if the density is higher than what you predict, so does that mean the mass is higher or the volume and so on? So just try to uh, give a deliverable versus just broadly saying human error. So the last thing you're going to do is do a manual calculation of standard deviation. And so I sort of apologize for this, but in some ways, no, because reading this is a thing that can help you in the future and in going through the steps. Hopefully, you'll understand appreciation for it. So the standard deviation is equal to the square root of the sum of each of the data points minus x bar, which is the average. So you're going to square this and then sum that square and then divide by the number of trials. So someone before had written out this nice thing walking you through it. So if you have uh, 3 different measurements measuring the density of a penny, so trial 1, trial 2, trial 3, if we average this, we can get this answer. And so now you can see in the next one, you're going to look at the difference between it. So you have the difference in the trial minus the average. So if you do this, you get this number. You do that difference for trial 2, you get this number. And that difference for trial 3, you get this number. And now you can see if we just sum this up, because it's like the average, then the positive and negatives cancel. So what we do is we square to make everything positive. And then because we square it, we have to take the square root. That's why it looks like this. So number 2, then is that number squared to give us this number squared to give us this, and so on. So now you sum those numbers, this plus this gives you that. You can see the steps and so on. So hopefully you can see how it really clear, just kind of mirror this, do it. And that's the last time I'll ask you to do it. Some people choose to still do this, but next week we're going to use Excel. And then afterwards, it's perfectly fine to use Excel to calculate the standard deviation. Instead of showing your work like this, you're going to show how you put your numbers in the spreadsheet, screenshot how you spit out standard deviation. All right, so that's the lab. Also, just a reminder that you don't have to do a pre-lab for the next one because it's Excel, but you still need to read it and have an idea for the quiz. All right.